pointed at the Saturn, and just seeing it, I was just it was astounding. I mean, it looked like a diamond in the sky. I didn't even know what to say. I just kept saying, holy shit, holy shit. After that, I was like hooked, and I just had that little scope showing people. They were just saying, oh my, like they just kept saying, oh my God, that's really that right there. I said, yeah, like people don't, they really don't get it.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Entering into Space podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Miller, and tonight's guest is Sam Skirchak. Yeah, I said that right. Sam reached out to me one day after watching a couple of my podcasts and said, hey, I want to be on, and I was like, hell yeah. So in this interview, he recounts his many years of observing before he ever got onto this crazy hobby of astrophotography. As a reminder, if you want to download and listen to this interview, you can find me on any of the major podcast suppliers or use my Buzzsprout account in the link below. So Astro Freaks, I give you Sam Skirchak. Sam Skirchak. Did I say it right?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, good to meet you, man. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story about getting started in this crazy, amazing pain in the ass. Oh my God, what did I start? Hobby that we both enjoy so much. So good to have you on.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. For me, I didn't really even think I would like this hobby at all.
Yeah.
My son actually got a telescope for his birthday 8 years ago. Really never used it or anything like that. And my cousin was over at my house one night, and he said, "Hey, did you ever use that scope your cousin have, or not? My son has." I said, "No, I never really tried or anything like that." So we took it outside, and that night he already said, Jupiter and Saturn's up. He was more into astronomy than I was at the time. And so he got the thing collimated, got it up and running, and he pointed at the Saturn, and just seeing it, I was just it was astounding. I mean, it looked like a diamond in the sky. You can see, all the rings around it. And it was just, I didn't even know what to say. I just kept saying, holy shit,
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if we can swear, but
yeah, rock
sorry.
on, bro. Whatever. You're good.
But then, he went over to Jupiter, and then just seeing the gas, just seeing the clouds, and just seeing just for a 6-inch telescope, I was impressed. I mean, just on Jupiter, you can see every single band, and seeing the moons. I mean, I was just, after that, I was like hooked. So
yeah, it's crazy because you see pictures of it, but when you look through an eyepiece, it's indescribable.
Yeah, people don't realize that. Even when I was going to star parties and I just had that little scope showing people. They were just saying, oh my, they just kept saying, oh my God, that's really that right there. I said, yeah, people don't, they really don't get it.
No.
So.
No. Yeah, and I've seen them in magazines and stuff like that, but even just looking through it, and the amazing thing, because I'll get into your skies and stuff, but my skies suck. So at any given time I could see 100 stars, but then when you look through a telescope, there's just stars everywhere. You're like, what the heck's going on? So yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah, well, I'd say my skies now are actually, they're not. It's a Bortle 6 right now, but they actually the Shell gasoline plant, they have this big fracking plant by my house now, so there's just LED lights everywhere. It sucks.
Oh no. Wow.
And my neighbors have some nice trees in my view,
so you went from looking to looking more. How long did you look and do observing astrophotography?
Actually, I did
pictures.
I did observe. I did visual for, I'd say, probably 4 years. I started out, I had a Celestron 130 SLT. It's a little 5-inch Newtonian.
Mm-hmm.
I was using that just for about a year, and then I just went down the rabbit hole, and I seen all the guys having these big Smith those big Smith Cassegrain scopes, and I was just blown away. So saved up some money, and I got the Celestron SE8. Started using that for a little bit. Did some visual with that, and then I started reading about astrophotography and stuff like that, and about the mounts. So I decided to sell that, that alt-az mount, and I got the Celestron AVX mount, and I was using that for a while. And I mean, it was still like a struggle, even polar alignment and that, because I wasn't using the ASI Air Pro or anything like that. So I was just
What'd you
doing it
use?
like, man, nothing, just my eyeball,
Yeah.
looking, just doing the old school way,
Yeah.
that nobody really does anymore,
Hey
but
man,
back
that's great
then,
stuff. Yeah.
but that was, 4 years, like even, 4 years ago, even that ASI Air, just that first one was out, I think, the
Hmm.
first,
Yeah.
that little plastic one, there wasn't really too much stuff about it, and I didn't really know nothing about it. So
Yeah.
I started just using that, and then just doing it manually. And I bought, actually, the first camera I actually bought was a Canon T7.
Okay.
And when I was using that, I was doing, I was getting anywhere from like just doing 30-second to a minute exposures. I
Yeah.
wasn't auto guiding or nothing like that, and I was still getting star trails, and I had vignetting, and I was just getting frustrated. I said, "Well, I want to get rid of all this stuff," and then I started going down the rabbit hole of refractors, and
Oh wow.
I just so I got actually ended up selling all that stuff. Well, I sold the scope first. I ended up getting the William Optics Red Cat because they said you want to go wide, so I bought
Yeah.
that, and then I started seeing more results, and then I said, "Well, I need more aperture." So then I started, get rid of the Red Cat and started going up from that. So,
What'd you use to control the camera?
well, the camera I was at that time, actually, when I had the Red Cat, I actually got the ASI Air, and the only thing that sucked about that is I didn't have a computer or anything at the time. So
Oh wow.
when I had the ASI Air, I was just had my little iPad Mini, and I was just editing my photos on that. But I was just using the live stack feature. So,
Oh wow. So you were just
but
stacking
yeah,
on the
I
ASI
wasn't.
Air.
I wasn't like going in like doing. No, I didn't have Pixin. I didn't know nothing about PixInsight.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew about like Adobe Photoshop and stuff like that. Like I had the Adobe Lightroom on my iPad, and it was the
Hmm.
free version, so I could do like little stuff like that. But and then that's like when I started seeing your videos and seeing Sean Nielsen from Visible Dark,
Oh yeah.
seeing some of his videos, and I was like, well, PixInsight, this is what it's got to be. And I was hesitant for over like a year. I didn't want to get it, and I didn't want to get Adobe because I didn't want to pay 15 a month. I was like, I'm just
Yeah.
going to use free stuff. And but at
Yeah.
that time, I really didn't. I didn't really know nothing. I was just watching all these videos, so I was like, well, I'm just going to buy all this crap and see what happens. So now, like, I'm actually paying
Spoken like a
attention,
true
and
astrophotographer right there. I'm just gonna buy a bunch of shit and
well,
see if it
yeah,
works. Yeah.
just and then I started watching videos, and I was on cloudy nights, and I just started listening to people because I wanted to do stuff my own way, and I was hesitant. I didn't want to take nobody's advice. I said, well, I can do this myself because that's just how I am. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
try figuring stuff out, but then I ended up listening to people, and it was better. I should have did that from the beginning instead of going down a rabbit hole buying stuff and stuff not working and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there now that there wasn't, even 4 years ago, 5 years ago when I started, there were some, that everybody knows Trevor Jones and that major resource there, but
Yeah,
not a
that was
lot,
really that was the only thing I seen. I just seen
yeah,
his videos because back then there wasn't. It was just him.
pretty much, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. So,
Yeah.
so you made the leap over to actually start processing and get away from live stacking on the ASI Air. Did you get right into PixInsight? Did you end up doing the subscription for Photoshop, or which
No,
direction did you go
actually,
there?
I just did the trial for PixInsight, the 45-day trial,
Yeah.
and just like the first couple weeks, I said, yeah, after this trial's out, I'm done. I ain't doing this. This is just too like. I was literally want to cry myself to sleep. Dude, it was just because you open it up and there's like, I mean, I'm not real good with computers to begin with, so just seeing that open up, it's just like,
Yeah.
all right, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do I hit?
Yeah. So
And
did you
there was
have a basic concept of like curves and linear versus nonlinear? How did you learn about that? Because that's kind of no matter what program you're using, you kind of have to know it's linear. You got to apply curves and stretch it. How did you gain that knowledge?
well, actually, when I just started out just doing this, I was watching. There was a guy he's on YouTube. It was just he had Pixin site videos. They were like 1 through 12. I forget what
Oh yeah,
his
Mitch.
name. It was like Mitch. Yeah,
Yep.
that's him.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
started watching him, and I said, okay, I started understanding this. But before
Yeah.
that, I tried using Deep Sky Stacker, and I gave up. I didn't.
Uh,
I didn't even know what. Like I was trying to press stuff. I'm watching videos. I'm like, okay, I'm pausing this, and I'm trying to drop and drag all that, and I said
yeah.
whatever. And then when I seen dudes using like that weighted batch processing, and I started learning how to do like the image integration, the image calibration, and all that. But I
Hmm.
actually had to pause it. But Mitch is actually, I watched his videos, literally those 1 through 12.
Yeah.
I watched it for a month straight,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like it just kept, it kept going to
Yeah.
my head. And then eventually, like now, I mean, I'm not great right now, but I know like what I'm doing now. So, and
Yeah.
there's still so much to learn
Oh, there
after
is.
just, I mean, I only had this will be my second year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I remember sitting in a Taco Bell parking lot at work, and the next thing I know, I was watching Mitch's videos, and I was like, because I was a big Photoshop guy, and I was watching his videos, the 1 through 12, and the next thing I know, it was like 2:30 in the afternoon. I was supposed to be working 2 hours ago. But I was like, this makes no sense. I hated Pixel Sight when I first got. Hey, absolutely hated it, but
see,
it
that's
grew
why I
on
don't
me.
know. Everybody I talk to, yeah, everybody says just try Photoshop and them, but some people like both. And I've never tried
Yeah,
the actual Photoshop, so maybe I should just give it a try and see. But I'm just so used
yeah,
to this right now. I really don't like changing stuff pretty much. I just like keeping it simple.
yeah. No, I still use it, but just at the very end, I still use Photoshop. There's some things that it's just more organic, where Pixel is more mathematical, and sometimes I just like that color, hands on, what I see, instead of just you know trying to achieve something with by clicking a button, letting the process work. I like to actually curve it and twist it, manipulate it, and shape it myself. I don't know, that sounds weird, but so I still use
No,
it for
I
that.
get. I mean, I get it. I just watching just watching like you guys and that. Like, yeah, I try to just keep my stuff natural, but I like try to get like I like to get a little more saturation, and
Yeah,
it's everybody's. It's your preference. You everybody has their own style.
yeah.
I think it's
So where are
more
you
of like an
from? I don't
art.
think I asked you. Where are you from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. Are you city, country? You out a little bit, or are you?
Yeah, I'm
What's your
actually
skies
like
like?
I'm out of the city right. I'm like out of the city right now. I
Yeah.
live in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, and it's about a Bortle 5-6.
Yeah.
But I can drive 45 minutes from here and be at a Bortle 4.
Oh wow,
But
that's
it's a
nice.
Bortle 4 like up looking up, but there's on the horizon you can still
Yeah.
see like you can actually see the light glow from Pittsburgh and the surrounding
Oh yeah.
areas. So
Yeah. 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 So do you have you be able to securely do it out in your backyard? Do you have to travel to image, or can you take it out the
yeah,
back door?
I can do it. I can do it outside. For me is like when like say right now in the sky Orion and all that stuff is actually behind my neighbor's house, but he has trees, so
Oh,
I actually have to go like around in the yard. I got to find my spots, but
depending on what you shoot.
I usually travel because the one park I go to, it's a state park and it's a Border 4, and I mean, it's
Oh,
pretty
that's
good,
nice.
and it's
Yeah.
only about a 45-minute drive, so
Yeah.
I usually just get set up, and if I fall asleep, I just sleep in my car. So
Oh, yeah. So what do you like? What excites you in the northern sky to image now that you've been doing this for a while? Is there something that
mm,
is Orion? Do you look forward to doing Orion every year? Are you one of those kind of guys that
it's
wants to shoot it every
it's
year no matter what?
it's Orion, but for me, it's Andromeda Galaxy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just don't know why, because when I started visual,
Hmm.
everybody said you want to see Andromeda, you want to see Andromeda, and I look in the eyepiece, I'm like, dude, it's like a fuzzball. Like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, you're looking at the core, and then like shows me pictures online, and it's just like, what, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like just because it fills up that frame, and it's just massive, and it's just gorgeous, the colors and everything.
Oh yeah.
But it's Orion. I like Orion, Horsehead. And one thing I really want to try this year is I haven't really spent no time on like the core of the Milky Way, like Trifid
Oh
Nebula, Eagle
yeah.
Nebula. So I want to give those a shot. But yeah,
Yeah.
like Andromeda, and I was starting to get kind of hooked on the Triangulum Galaxy too. I like the
Oh
Triangulum.
yeah. Yeah, if you have, I'll get to this too because I'm not sure what camera you're using, but if you have the ability to shoot HA, the tons of HA in the Triangulum M33, it's almost outrageous.
Well, see, I did try. I shot it. Well, it was with my because I recently sold my 294 MC Pro camera, and I got the 2600,
Okay,
and I had
color or
only
mono?
it color. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to go. Well, we can get into mono after this because
Yeah.
I do want to. I do want to go mono, but I'm still like unsure about it because of my situation.
Yeah.
But like Triangulum Galaxy, I shot it with just a 294 and a UVI or cut filter,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put in the L Ultimate filter, and I shot it only for an hour of HA, and I could pull some out, but it seems like to me like Triangulum, it's a difficult galaxy to process, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Just you
it's
need some
tough.
time on it,
Mm-hmm.
so
I learned. I used to really struggle with galaxies, like hated them. Absolutely hated processing them. I didn't mind shooting them because they were easy, but just could not. Especially my first M31 images were just god awful. It looked like somebody vomited. It was terrible, and I because I was so used to the noise, right? Because
mhm.
shooting with a DSLR, and what do you do to get rid of noise? Use all these noise reduction things. So I tried to apply that to
Mhm.
galaxies, and that's the worst thing. It's almost like you want the noise because it's just a bunch of stars. It's just a bunch of solar system. It's not smooth nebulosity. Um, so in Triangulum, it's a lot like that. Like you can almost overdo the noise. So I almost really don't apply a lot of noise reduction to galaxies. I found it really helped.
Yeah, see, I don't. I usually do. I always run like Russell Crowe's Noise Exterminator.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that adjusts to like nebula. I don't really know if that's like good to use for galaxies or. I mean, I found it more easy to process nebulas when I was using like the extreme.
hmm
And before, like guys said, you shoot at a Bortle. Like there was one guy that was talking to me. He says you shoot at a Bortle 4. He goes, just try putting in that UVIR cut filter, and he goes, just put time on a target. Because me,
yeah,
when I started this, I put the filter, and I said, oh my god, I get this for an hour. Me, I
yeah,
start star hopping like an idiot, and it's like
yeah,
dude, just
yeah,
stay on this,
yeah,
just stay on this target, and
yeah.
that's what I've been trying to do. And I've been getting 5, 6, 7 hours on targets now, and I'm just noticing a huge
Oh yeah,
difference.
yeah,
So
yeah. And if you ever decide to go mono, when you start getting into the 20-30 hour range, especially if you could set up and you plan it to where your targets are low in the east and you get a good 6 or 7 hours, you could really rack up some time. Just shoot it night after night. Um, yeah, you'll take your color camera and throw rocks at it.
yeah, that's why like I wanted to go mono, but then it's like I don't shoot at my house all the time. Like even if it's clear, like last week it
Yeah,
was clear three nights in a row. But I get home at 6:30. I'm like, oh my god, I got to drag out this. I got to drag out the EQ6. Like, it's like
yeah, yeah.
because I
I
don't
know.
leave it. I don't have an observatory. I don't leave it out under a tarp. I
Yeah,
know some people leave them out and cover it up. I've never done that. I don't know why. I mean, I live in an okay neighborhood. I don't have to worry about nobody stealing it or anything like
yeah,
that. But I just never did it. So
yeah.
that's
You
why I
got
don't know if I want to jump into just doing mono. Just because if I travel, I know it's okay. You can eventually stack all those images together like it from different sites and.
mhm.
But I just didn't know if it was actually worth doing mono for how long it would actually take me to complete an image. Of
Yeah,
actually getting all the HA, all the sulfur, oxygen, all that.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think the trade off is that for an hour of imaging with mono is like 10 hours of imaging with one shot color.
be serious.
Yeah, because you're not
Well, I
fighting the
might as well sell the
barometrics.
2600 now. Then I might as well just order shit.
It's a huge difference. It really blew me away, when I first got it because I can, and something you could also look at is shoot your RGB in your backyard. Let's say you want to shoot Andromeda Galaxy or shoot something in RGB, LRGB. Shoot your RGB in your backyard because it's just color and you're going to blur that anyway. And then go to
Hmm.
your dark sky site and just pile a whole night of luminance on something.
So now when you're just shooting, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's just mind blowing, the details you're
So
going to.
like if you're just shooting RGB stars, I just see some people just doing like 15 minutes on each channel. Is that like really all you need?
You're really just trying to get the star color, unless like you're trying to shoot the horse head and you want to get that red. If you want to get nebulosity color, you definitely put more time. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're shooting like an HA RGB and you're going to take the HA and turn it red anyway, and you just want the RGB stars, and you're going to shoot your HA to get both luminance and add it to the red channel,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't need much time at all. Like when I use Nina, I would run RGB on a loop.
Mm-hmm.
So I would run red, blue, green, red, blue, green. I didn't worry about, I got it somewhat focused. I just focused my aluminum and just do that over and over and over again until the end of the night and get enough red, enough green, enough blue to make an image. And then I would spend 2 or 3 nights just shooting luminance and just pulling in all that data and applying it over top. It's I use the word game change or the term game changer all the time. Everybody says it. It really is.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I've been reading. It was more of like, I was trying to take all that in, and I just thought, oh, so I'm going to have to sit outside for like 10 hours, but I didn't know like how you're explaining it. I guess it could benefit me.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look into, especially like with Nina or the ASI Air Pro. They're so set it and forget it now. You know.
That's my thing too. That's why I think I started actually catching on a lot more, because I did try using a laptop at the beginning using APT, but I
Yep.
literally only tried using it like 1 or 2 times, and I just said I don't even know what this is. Like, then I seen the EWO. That's when all that the ASI Air came out. I started
Yeah.
using that, but like using the Plus, like now it's just nice sometimes when I'm sitting up here, like when I'm setting up at home, I'm sitting on a couch watching TV. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Just checking your
I don't
phone.
have that luxury all the time. I got to drive out to a darker site, but where
Yeah.
I go, I mean, you can see Andromeda with the naked eye. It's real faint
But
on most
still.
nights, but when we usually go to another site, it's about 4 hours from here, and it's a Bortle too, Cherry
Oh my
Springs.
gosh. Wow.
And we
Jealous.
were up there last year, and
Yeah.
Trevor Jones was actually up there, and I think he's going to be there this year, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
That Cherry
But
Springs.
yeah, Cherry Springs, yeah, that's
Oh wow.
some of the darkest skies on the East Coast.
Wow.
So,
One of these days. One of these days I'll get
oh,
there.
dude, you can actually see. That's when they say you can actually see the shadow of the Milky Way just casting off the ground. You can see the whole shadow of it just going down. I mean, it's
I
awesome.
can't. Yeah, I can't imagine.
But I
Can't
mean, you can
imagine.
see M33. You can see the Triangle Galaxy real faint with the naked eye. You can see a
Yeah.
fuzzball. I mean, if they said if you can see that, you're at a dark site.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So, but it's pretty
Yeah.
nice. I try to get up there as much as I can. But
Wow. I'm jealous.
well,
Yeah.
it's the way you're in Florida, right?
Yeah. I'm bored on Disney.
Well, I said my parents, they have a house in what is it, Fernandino Beach?
Yeah. Fernandino. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have a house down there, and they said you got to come down and check the skies out there. And I was looking it up on a dark sky map. It don't look too bad, but I wasn't sure how many actually like city lights and stuff were down there. So
Yeah, we have Kissimmee State Park, which is way, way south of here. It's kind of towards the Everglades, and they say
hmm
that's 3, 4-ish, somewhere in there. I've got some lease property in Tallahassee, and it's 4 to 4, very dark. But Tallahassee just kills the
oh yeah,
northeast.
who were you talking to? You were talking to Tommy about that, right?
Yeah,
When you're
probably did.
yeah,
Yeah,
because you were talking about people using power supplies. You were like, I don't know why people do it. Like me, did you see the power supply I use?
no,
Dude, it's like it's a deep cycle battery,
yeah,
but it's in a 30 quart cooler. So
okay.
it's just this big massive, but I put like a panel on it from Amazon and wired it up. So I have like 3 DC ports, USB, and it has a
Ah,
voltage gauge meter. But like that's
yeah,
what I've always used. I mean, that's a little
okay.
overkill, but I was just thinking, I was just laughing when you said that. And I'm like, I'm lugging around this 50-pound battery like an idiot. But hey, it's
Yeah,
better safe than sorry. I mean, it powers your
yeah,
laptop. I mean, you could power everything all night. So,
yeah. Yeah, I got in some. you think this hobby's crazy, but I got into kayak fishing and kayaks and trolling motors and all that stuff. So I'm starting to learn about batteries and lithium batteries and how much lighter they are than than regular lead acid batteries. So I'm like, well, wait. And I took a tote and put the batteries in there, and I've got cords coming out, and I've got USBs, and I'm like, wait, I'm making this for telescopes. What am I doing? I could cross mohogenate here. I just made that word up, but yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, it's definitely nice.
Yeah. So what's your rig like right now? What's your setup?
Well, I'm using the Skywatcher EQ6R Pro, and my scope, I'm using the Astrotech 115 EDT triplet from
Cool.
Astronautics.
Yeah. What are you guiding
Uh,
with?
the ZWO 290 with the OAG.
Yeah. Oh, the OAG. How do you did you ever use a guide scope or did you go straight OAG or
I tried
how was that
using.
transition?
Well, that's the whole thing. I tried using a guide scope and I
Uh-huh.
couldn't get focus. But
Really?
that was, well, that was also when I first started and I was just buying shit. You know. I
Yeah.
think what it was is I didn't know that on the guide scope. I think it was a William Optics. I can't remember, but unscrew the top to bring it out more. And I think I had my camera all the way. I didn't have it all the way in. I know sometimes you got to have it at a certain
Yeah.
spot, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
just had it barely in, and I don't think I was doing it right. So
Yeah.
I took the AG, and I mean it was some trial and error. I mean it took me a couple weeks, but I got it. You
Yeah.
know. Now it's a breeze. I can use a guide scope and I can use whatever now, thank God. Now
Yeah.
that I know, I was actually watching videos and paying attention. I always tried doing stuff by myself, I'm like hard headed like that.
Yeah, I've been there. I think that's why I started a YouTube channel because I was like, I can explain it way better than this. you know,
Well,
you
that's what's
know.
hard. Like, yeah, like it's just, yeah, like me, I just gave up and then I'm going on YouTube and I'm like, I'm watching these videos. I'm like, man, that makes sense. I'll try that. And then
Yeah. So what's
guess what? It
your
works.
yeah? What's your longest integration time on a target, and what target was it?
Um, it was actually, I think, IC63, the Ghost of Cassiopeia.
Oh wow.
That was 10 hours.
Yeah.
But I had, well, I combined it. I was doing the methods that I seen off of Visible Dark, adding RGB stars to HA for one shot color cameras.
Yeah.
So I had 6 hours with the L Ultimate filter, and I had 4 hours with just using a UVI or cut filter, would be like, like luminance. So
Hmm.
then I processed both of those and combined those together, and that's probably my longest, I would
Yeah.
say.
Cool.
I want to do
Did you?
longer, but so
Yeah. What's
it's a
your
good start.
what's your next goal? Like if you say, hey man, I want to go what 30, 40 hours or something shorter
No,
than
I
that,
don't
or
want to. I don't want to do like you do.
you know, 100 hours, man. That's a lot
No,
of
I
sunlight
mean,
there, bro.
see, I don't know. I do see videos of people saying, "Well, I shot for 6 hours, and I shot this one for 9. And I compared it out, and I don't see a difference." I mean, is that true?
Uh, n- it no, I can, and you really got to look in there, and you really got to, especially
When
with.
you zoom in.
Well, it's not just the zooming in, and I guess I have to preface that I've noticed that difference um, more with mono.
Hmm.
One shot color, and also too, my answer to that is a little skewed because the more I image, the more light pollution I collect, and so I'm not only gathering precious photons, but I'm also gathering streetlights and sky glow and all that stuff. So it's hard to like go, well, are you really weeding it out? What's the comparison here? But yeah, I can like the difference between 5 and 10 hours is definitely noticeable. The
Yeah.
noise level drops, the read noise drops, everything gets smoother. And
Oh,
the biggest
that's the
thing
one.
is the contrast smooths out. So your
Hmm.
separation, because basically all these cameras are just shooting levels of gray. What level of gray is it shooting? So
Hmm.
that blend between your background space and your faint nebulosity starts to really pull through. But I have noticed that there is diminishing returns. There's that point where it's like, man, I just put 10 more hours on and I can't see a difference. But that's getting up in the 20, 30 hour range sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said like yeah, for me like it seemed like for me with my 294, if I got anywhere from like 5 to 6 hours, it was pretty good. But
Yeah.
I never went over that, so I never actually compared data and that. But I do notice a difference from. I mean, I only got to use my 2600 once. I shot the Cone Nebula, and just the clarity of like zooming in and cropping in, it's just
Yeah.
dude, it's so much better than the 294, which I love the 294. It's a great camera. But you don't really, I guess, really realize that till you get something like this. But I
You got
like
some
it.
big file sizes to deal with there, right?
Oh, dude, that's what when I use the Pixin site, I always resample it to 50% before I start because I do notice it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah. 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 I've got some friends trying to push me to get the 2600, and I'm like, I had the
I don't know
294
why I did
MM.
it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that's the
Because
whole
somebody
thing.
said to do it and you wanted to spend the money. That's why
Well,
you did
that's
it.
what my cousin. Well, I was like talking to my cousin, my buddy, and I was always wanted like something easier. So when I get home from work, I really don't feel like setting up the EQ6. I mean, it's a beast,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's a badass mount,
Mm-hmm.
hands down. And they said, "Well, just get something like the AM5, sell the EQ6." And I'm like, "Well, that might be a good idea," but then I was like, I ain't gonna sell it. I
Yeah.
don't know anything else." And he's like, "Just you should upgrade cameras," because I was using a 294 for 2 years,
Yeah.
so I felt like I was almost like I learned that camera and I knew it, and then I put that on cloudy nights, and it sold within like a couple hours. So then I hit up a Gina and ordered 2600. That was it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. And that's that other sticking item for me with that 2600 is, God, I got to go buy all new filters. And those 2-inch filters are freaking expensive, man. I got all these 1.25 inch filters. So I'm keeping
That
it
was
low.
another thing too. If I end up going mono, I might probably end up going with the 533.
Well, I can attest that is a badass camera. I have
Well, I
one.
already seen your pictures with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you asked me. Yeah, I was looking up. The Orion 8-inch astrographs because I was looking at your pictures. I mean, you have the 10, but
Yeah.
the eight's just as I've been having my eyes on the 8-inch
Yeah.
astrograph, so I want to
Yeah.
get something different. So
Have you ever imaged through a Newtonian before?
no.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's different. I mean, the star
Yeah.
spikes are
Now,
different,
does it actually? How does it hold collimation? I always hear people say collimation. You always got to like triple check it.
It's weird, man. Collimation is fickle. I'm in this really good zone. Collimation is almost like a girlfriend because everything can be great, and then all of a sudden you're like, "What did I do wrong? I don't know. I was just breathing over here." You know, it's just really it can either work out really good or it's a pain in the ass. And um, I'm like you. I have to take it in and out every night. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I can tell you now, I have the 10-inch. It's more susceptible to collimation errors because it's so torquey, because it's so huge, it's heavy. But I can take it out 3 or 4 nights and check in, and it's spot on. Um, but boy, when it gets out, it's hard to get back. You really got to fiddle with it. But for the price to get 10 inches or 8 inches of aperture and f4 or f3.9 for under $1,000,
It's a no brainer.
yeah, it's worth it for sure.
Yeah, I was
So
just seeing your images and seeing Tommy's. Dude, they're just with that 533.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, that camera. I can't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around like obviously the smaller square. The 1 inch square, but
yeah,
I'm used to just the 294 than with the 2600. I'm just used to shooting with a bigger sensor.
yeah,
But it seems like those two they just pair nicely together.
yeah. I was real surprised. It really has, and I posted an image because I'm working on an M101 project with Tommy,
Oh,
and so I
really
shoot
cool.
it all night long. And then yeah, my imaging run ends about 4 in the morning.
Hmm.
So I wake up and I'll shoot 4 or 5 subs on the crescent, and the crescent fills the whole screen. It really does. There's very little cropping, and I posted an image recently. It was like
Yeah, I see
maybe
it.
5 hours, and I already got the oxygen cell
That's
just full.
insane.
It's nuts in
Yeah,
my
it definitely
skies. It's
does.
just
It
nuts.
pulls. It does pull some. I mean, great
Yeah,
detail.
yeah. And so, in your so what's the ASI air? I'm sure some people listening they're kind of on the fence. How would what would you do to talk about that device for capturing?
Me or really, it's a no brainer. I mean, after
Yeah.
like me, now that I know how to use it, the other guy I shoot with that will meet up at the park, and he still uses Nina with a laptop, which I have nothing against. I mean, they have some great features, and if that's what you do, that's what you do. But just
Yeah.
seeing all those wires, him plugging in all this stuff, doing all this, and he's already
Yeah.
looking at me. He's like, "Why are you sitting down drinking?" I said, "I'm already shooting." What do you mean? Like I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just more. It's yeah. There's only a handful of things, but it's more of it's just plug in and play. It just works. Like there's just I mean, they're still upgrading stuff, and it's still like even that Sky Atlas they added where you can frame up your target and
Mm-hmm.
move stuff around. It's literally, dude, it's amazing for something that little, and it just works. You know,
Is there anything
I
that
mean,
it doesn't do for you that you wish it did?
give me a beer. That's about it. No, I mean
Yeah.
I mean no, nothing. I mean, there's other people that talk about like certain what they doing. I can't remember what the one guy with Nina just some of the stuff that the ASI Air didn't do, but I didn't. I don't. I know a lot of people like more features and stuff like that, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's simple. It does the multi-star guiding. I mean, it dithers. That's just crazy. It even stacks for you if you have your darks, your flats, and it just calibrates everything for you.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
it's just pretty much it's just so simple for beginners, and that's why I think it will actually helps people getting into this hobby because it is daunting. And if you go out trying to use a laptop, it's hard. It definitely
Yeah.
is.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I
And
didn't want to do it, and I hesitated. That's why I use it.
yeah.
The ASI Air now. So
Yeah, that there. I noticed like when I first got in because my my family was always into computers, like even like big floppy disks. We were dirt poor with these gigantic computers in my house because my parents were typesetters. So, and my dad would write in DOS this code to just save a file. You had to write a code, and so when I got into this hobby, it kind of reminded me of that because nothing really communicated well. EQ mod is like I just drug it up from the 70s. Just all of it was archaic, and I went, man, it's 2000 at the time. Like it's 2017. We should be much more advanced than this, But and then when the ASIR, Nina really kind of improved some of that, but the ASIR definitely is. I've got two. I've got the Pro and the Plus. Um, I like the Pro better. The Plus sucks. I hate the Plus.
really, well, I mean, I have the Plus. I like it. It helps me with obviously with the Wi-Fi signal when I'm out in my yard. I can still get reception in my house pretty
Yeah,
good. But other than that,
yeah. I solved that problem with two ways. I use a Wi-Fi repeater booster at the mount, so
hmm
I log into my home Wi-Fi, and so what the ASIR do is it'll do an EXT. So you instead of choosing your home Wi-Fi, you choose the home Wi-Fi EXT,
hmm
and so basically I'm on my home Wi-Fi, but I'm operating the ASIR because it's picking up, it's being boosted out to the yard. My neighbor felt sorry for me, God bless him, and he actually ran a Ethernet cable out to the mount. So now I'm hardwired,
dude, that's
and
awesome.
that's awesome. But the plus is quirky. It's stupid little things. It doesn't save your temperature setting. I like to shoot -10, so it has a lot of defaults, and so you have to remember every night to change the temperature. I had it stop dithering, and I kept getting all these weird pixels in my image, and I was like, "What's
hmm
going on?" I realized it was never dithering because I had to go back in there and manually turn it back on again.
That's crazy. So it's just like it was like automatically shutting off.
Yeah, it just and it won't do auto flats. It'll do the auto flat, but you used to be able to repopulate that flat time. So let's say your luminance flat was 0.23 seconds, and
hmm
the Pro will save that if you want to shoot dark flats, which you need for the 533. But now the Plus won't do that. You have to actually go in there and see what it is and write it down and then manually enter it in. It's like they just try to get too cute with things. They didn't. I don't know what they did. It's weird, or maybe I'm just picky.
Well, I noticed that when I did do like I didn't really do too many flats with the 294. We're using that ASIR, that auto flat. I wasn't sure how accurate that was, because I even know with using the 294, you had to have it over, I think, 4 or 5 seconds, and it was still hard for me to do. So sometimes I really didn't even use them. But I noticed it doesn't work too bad with the 2600. But when I go in, I can actually. It doesn't do none of that, what you're saying. I would just wonder if that's just like a software, like default, you need like an update or something's
Yeah,
corrupted, or
there was an update, and now the option to re-auto populate. Like if you run all your flats, for me, I got to do it 4 times, for each filter.
that's
So
crazy.
if I run all my flats, I used to be able to just repopulate those flat times and choose dark, and then it would just cover the scope and then rerun them again, and that would be my dark flats. You can't do that anymore. When you hit the little sequence or the little tab to tell it how long to take a duration, it auto populates 300 seconds every time. So it wipes out everything you just did.
That's crazy.
And so the only workaround I found is to actually go in there and look at the times. But I've been able to get my flats down. Like my HA flats are 10 seconds. My luminance flats are about 2 seconds. But that's a really dim light panel, extremely dim. But yeah, it's just quirky little. But I get past that. You're right. It's nice having it on the phone. It's nice because it's like those other programs give you too many options.
Well, it's just for me. Like when I start out, I'm polar aligned. I'm getting down on my knee looking up, and it was just,
oh shit.
Then when I'm using this was like gold.
Yeah.
It was like, because I can just sit there and look at my iPad, and okay, I got to go left, I got to go right, got to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for me, it helped me a lot. I know it helps a lot of other people just starting to get into this hobby, because it's just daunting. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you this question, but I would have to say if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I want to build a rig. I've never done this," I would definitely steer them towards it. I would say, why go download all those other programs that all hate each other just to get this done when this is all under one roof?
Well, I know this one guy, he was using he got one of those Raspberry Pis off Amazon, and he downloaded stuff. It was called K-Stars.
Never heard of that.
And it's uses, I forget what. There was another program. It was like the ASIR, but it was like $50. You could buy it and download it onto your thing. But it was like you had to connect like all this different stuff, and it's just too much.
It's hard enough
trying to get it, just trying to get around, just to save. You're spending $100 just for something do it yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than just spend the $250 or the $200 or the Wi-Fi. Get the ZWO Mini, just something that works, man. You just plug it in and you're off. It walks you through. And there's just so many videos online. There's just as soon as you type that in, just tons of stuff come up.
Yeah. So if somebody comes up to you, like you were 3-4 years ago, and says, "Man, I've got a telescope and I've been observing, and you take pictures. What should I buy? Like, what should I get into? Give me what's the rig rundown that you would say, here's your shopping list. Go."
Me, I mean, I would ask them probably price range. Because then I only have.
That's a horrible question. You never ask that.
But it's horrible. But it's also like, well, I want to get this Skywatcher mount. How much is that? Well, it's $2,000. Well, I don't have that much money. Yeah. I have $700. Well, then you might want to get the Skywatcher's GTI, Star Tracker. But then and they're like, well, what kind of scope I can get? I said, well, you can get a camera and camera lens or something like the Red Cat or 60 millimeter refractor. Other than that, you can't go too much more. That's why it's like somebody was like, I want that scope, and I try to ask them their price range, because they want like, well, how much does your stuff cost? And I'm like, well, it's not $2,000. So
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to answer, but like how I started, I just went down the rabbit hole buying stuff, and I was doing it wrong. I started like buying a Smith Cassegrain. That's like something you really don't want to do, I guess. I'm trying to shoot at 2,000 millimeters, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. But then after I got the Red Cat, it just clicked, because I'm shooting.
Yeah.
It was night and day. And then after that, I started getting aperture fever. I said, well, I want something bigger. But then I don't like the prices of refractors, so I think like the 115 to 127 range is good for me. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having something bigger, but too expensive for me.
Yeah. So what's a scope out there that you got your eyes on maybe for the future for something different?
Mm, probably, well, just like when I was talking to you about probably the Orion 8-inch astrograph,
Yeah.
or I keep just seeing stuff with roses, but I don't know. It's just I see a lot of guys using those, and I just don't know if I want to go down that path.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're nice, but they're just it's just not cheap.
No.
But then
No, you got to get
if I'm
special
spending
filters
all
for it too.
that, yeah, if I'm like spending all that to get something that nice, I can probably just get a big, big refractor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I think probably my ideal, I would say after just seeing your pictures and that astrograph, it's just because it seems like it can do it all. It can do planets, it can do deep sky, just whatever you want. Just doing star clusters. So
Yeah. Well, I can attest for what my 2 cents is. I had the Skywatcher 8-inch, which is they're all made in the same damn factory. All right, they just repaint them and brand them something different. Just
mhm.
get that out of the way. All right, but I can say that the Skywatcher they did have it was a little better build. I've had problems with the 10-inch Orion. It works. There's just some things on it. I'm like, really, guys, seriously? But
Well,
I can tell you,
I watched your video putting it together.
yeah. Well, there's. I'm gonna do a follow up video.
Also,
Trust me.
you had to
Yeah,
add some more
yeah,
shit.
yeah. But I can tell you the light gathering ability difference between the 8 and the 10-inch is
It's insane.
it's insane. I would go 10. I really, even though it's heavy, the EQR6 because that's what I have too handles it fine, have no problems. And like I said, the light gathering ability of it is uh, I don't know what the matrix measurement of it is, but just what I'm getting per sub is worth it. It's worth the
Well,
extra
yeah,
weight.
I think going to 8 to 10. I can't remember. Well, I used to have a 12-inch Dobsonian, like a Mead Light
Yeah,
Bridge, and I think going just from an 8 to 10, it might be 40 or 60% difference of light gathering. So it's a big difference.
yeah, it's huge.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like night and day.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed it just in the subs.
Oh, I bet.
For sure, for sure. So tell me about intergalactic astro. What's up? What's going
That's
on there?
that's just me. That's just my page. Kind
Yeah,
of want to like just watching Visible Dark, Astro Backyard, Galactic Hunters, Chuck's
yeah.
Astrophotography, Nebula, all of them, Quiv.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something like I thought it'd be cool to do because I do have a lot of people just when I post pictures, people asking me, well, how'd you do that? And like, I'm interested in learning about this. And when I
Yeah,
talked to him and that, and I said, well, maybe I'll try just making something of it and doing it. And I mean, I really, and like me, I never thought I would like stuff like this, but it's just, this is all I want to do, on the
yeah.
weekends. If it's clear, I don't care what the wife says I'm out. So, to an
Yeah,
extent.
it's amazing, right? Because sometimes I think back, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes I think back of my life before this, and I think back of all these clear nights that I wasn't imaging, but I didn't know anything about astrophotography, and I go, I wasted those nights. Like I specifically remember there was that really clear, and it's weird. It's like I can't do anything about it. All I can do, but now it's like if there's a clear night, it's just, and I'm not out there or I don't have the rig running, it's like blasphemy. It's
Mm-hmm.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I'm the same way, man.
Yeah. For sure. So what's a target that you've never imaged that
Mm,
you think you might want to image this year?
I do. Well, it's actually supposed to be clear this weekend, but I'm not sure. I tried it once. Was the Jellyfish Nebula?
Mm.
That or the Seagull? I want to try with my 115. The Seagull
Yeah.
almost fits if I frame it right, but the
Mm-hmm.
Jellyfish. I tried the Jellyfish once when I had a six. I actually had a Astrotech 60 millimeter, the ED little scope, little wide field scope,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I tried using that once, and actually the reducer flattener, something how the pieces were, how it got shipped. I wasn't paying attention. But you were supposed to unscrew them and turn them around, and I didn't. I
Yeah.
put it in. I put the camera in. Everything's screwed in.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I noticed elongated stars in the corners.
Yeah.
So then I didn't. It was only like an hour of that, and I kind of want to go for that, but I don't know if it's too late now because it's. I think the jellyfish it might go down around 2, but the place
Yeah.
I go to, it's pretty high up. There's a couple of places I can go to. I just don't know if it's actually worth trying to get or not. So,
Yeah, I think
and it's a
probably still
full
would
moon,
have
so I
some.
can throw in the
Yeah.
I can throw in the L Ultimate and get probably at least 2 or 3 hours. But I just didn't know if it was worth it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, those are both really cool targets. I've definitely shot them a couple times for sure. What's like the deepest south target that you've imaged?
The deepest south,
Yeah.
mm,
Or southern?
um, I would say it's kind of hard. I did try one time with the Cat's Paw Nebula. It's down lower. I don't know if that's southern, but it's like in my sky.
Yep.
It's hard to get. I
Yeah.
know it only rises. I don't remember the degree, but I tried that once, and from my sky, there was just too much light pollution. I couldn't get it.
Oh, really? What elevation are you at, or what
Me,
latitude are you at?
I'm at 42,
42. Okay.
but and I know that a couple places like from my house right now. So I'm like on a hill, so I do have like it's okay skies, but just the amp glow from the city is just it's
Yeah.
unbearable. It's ridiculous now, especially everybody's switching. Everybody's putting LED lights in now. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm at 28 ish, 27, 28. And I think if I move just right, I haven't tried it. I thought about I think if I move work, because I have mine kind of on a little permanent concrete pad, but if I actually just get the energy and move it, I think I can shoot the dueling dragons.
yeah, I've been
It
seeing
just
that. I've
crests.
been seeing that a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, like any stuff like that, and when I see other people saying about the southern targets that you can get them northern, depending on where you are, and anytime I look them up, they're always below the horizon. So I'm like, oh, what the hell? So I don't bother.
Yeah. So what's some stuff that you bought that you could tell somebody, man, I wish I'd never have bought this. This was the dumbest thing I ever bought, or this just didn't work like I thought it was going to. What'd you buy that you didn't even use, or maybe sold, or maybe still have, and it haunts you in this hobby?
Um, probably. I mean, that's a tough question. I bought a bunch of junk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe buying expensive eyepieces
Oh, really?
when I first started. Yeah, because my cousin was always about buying Telview and that. But dude, I tell you the truth, dude, I compared them when I was at a dark site, like a Telview to
Hmm.
a $30 plus off Amazon. Dude, they were the same. I mean, it's
Really?
just well, it's the clarity's a little bit different, but it's just more of a, they said you got to pay attention to your atmosphere. Like from where I'm at, it is humid a lot.
Hmm.
So you have to worry about the atmosphere and the turbulence and all that. They said it's just sometimes it just doesn't matter. Probably
Yeah.
buying that and then like having like I thought it was always cool doing when I was doing visual having like the moon filter and all that. None of that stuff really matters. You don't need it because I already
Yeah.
had like 5 or 6 of them. And I thought I was the cool person, but
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, I did the observing. I went and bought the lenses and the Celestron lenses and the Plossels
look,
and I bought a
I got the
9.
Celestron IP case. What do you got?
Yeah, all right. I had a mixed bag, and I bought like a 9 millimeter, some Japanese brand, and it is so tiny and let in so little light, you barely can see anything. But it was like, oh, I got this. It's gonna zoom me way in. I was all about zoom at some point in time,
Yeah, that's
and I
what I
bought a
was
nebula
using. I was
filter. I was like,
using
what is this nebula filter for?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
using, like a Zoom eyepiece. And actually, that's probably if you're going to start out doing visual, just get a Zoom eyepiece and just be done with it.
yeah,
You don't need all these different things and stuff like that.
Did you still have the Dob? Do you still get out and do some
Yeah,
observing every once in a while?
I still have it, but no, I haven't used it. But I kind of want to now that because after I'm up and running, I don't have
Yeah.
nothing to do. I usually I just sit there, so it'd be like might as well just point that and
Yeah.
use it. So
Yeah. Do some
well, that's
looking
what
around.
actually me and my cousin actually put a on that dog. It has it's like a 360-degree like latitude and longitude on the bottom. It has numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and we have
Oh,
this. I forget what this tool is, but it's something they use in construction. So if it's on the scope and you move it up and
yeah.
down, it shows you latitude and longitude.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually made it was like a homemade go-to. So I would go on Sky Safari or something like that and get the latitude and longitude. So I can go,
Yeah.
okay, I want to be at 43 degrees and I want to be at a certain height. And I was
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that for a while. I was just having like a homemade system to actually learn the sky.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I'm
Did you
kind of
do that when
glad
you first started?
yeah, when I first started, well, I not like right when I first started, but like after that first year of like learning stuff,
Yeah.
watching videos, and I did stuff like that. But I mean, it was pretty cool when having a dog like that because you can just look up coordinates. Somebody wanted to see it, and you can actually point to it. And it was in the
Yeah.
finder scope, so it worked pretty good.
Yeah. Did you when you were imaging, did you start right out with plate solving, or were you doing sky hopping and spending hours trying to center a target up?
Well, I used to like Star Hop, but yeah, when I started using the ASI Air with the plate solving, yeah, after like
Yeah.
that, I never went back. That was like king to me. I loved it.
You know, if 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 somebody said, "Hey, listen, all things fair and equal, we're going to leave you everything that you have, might even upgrade a few things, but we're going to take plate solving away from you. No, go." I'd be like, "No,
No,
not doing it again. My back cannot do that again." But I did it. I got down there with an eyepiece, and I would look at the image on the phone, and I would look through the eyepiece and try to match star patterns, and then take an image and nothing there, and ugh, yeah, plate solving is the
it's
bomb.
yep, I love it.
So, what else you like to do? What else do you like to do for hobbies? What do you do to get away from this crazy hobby for a little bit?
Nothing, just go to work. That's about it. I really don't, I really don't
That's a good
do.
answer,
Yeah,
my man.
I don't do too much else. It's work, and then if it's clear on the weekends, I'm out somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm either in the backyard or I'm at some park somewhere.
yeah. Oh, good, cool. Have you like gotten any done? You say I guess you've done some star parties. You're going to a park. Have you ever like had people come up to you and kind of get them interested in the hobby and show them your scope and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they do. When I show them, the one lady came up. Excuse me, sir, where's your eyepiece? I said, "Oh, it's the iPad. You can look over here and like look at this." And
Yeah,
she was just
yeah,
like, "Oh my god, this is high class. Like, I need this.
yeah,
How much is this?" And I tell her the price. Oh, I don't need this. But then she's just like, it seems like more people are amazed, but I think they're just
yeah.
more a little overwhelmed of when you're trying to explain to them what it is and what you're doing. They're just sitting there like kind of scratching their head because it is a lot
Yeah,
to
most
take in.
people. Yeah, I always get the question, how far can you see? Well, forever.
Keeps going and
There is
going.
really no limit. It's like how long you want to sit out there. You can see it. Yeah, that's the question they always ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so so what's like your goals for this year? You know, you've got a scope. You may be looking at getting an astrograph, that kind of thing. Is there some sort of astrophotography goal, like a target that you really want to either shoot, print, do something? Do you have some bucket list targets that you want to knock off this year?
No, not really bucket list, but just taking the time, putting time on the target, and just learning how to process it right, and just not trying to rush in and like doing everything because like when I did this, I was like, well, I'm gonna get a couple hours on this, then I'm gonna go over to this target, do a couple hours on this. I'm gonna try to like stay on a target a night and just like stay focused and take my time.
Target fever.
I really don't have like for me. I think this year it's probably gonna be M20, probably the Trifid Nebula,
Yeah.
just because
How do you find?
that's a dense region of stars, and I find it's a little bit challenging to process too. So,
Oh yeah. Russell Croman's Star Exterminator.
mhm.
Yeah, major plus. Because not having the processed nebulas with stars in it is, yeah,
Hey,
it's awesome.
you don't mind if I go grab a drink real quick, do you?
No, well, we're fixing to wrap it up if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
But yeah, man,
yeah.
I really appreciate this. I was a little nervous at first,
Oh, you're fine.
just watching your videos and then meeting you, man. It's an honor, man. I really appreciate it.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
No,
crazy to
I
hear,
do,
man.
man.
That's
It's just I'm just
yeah,
like a normal dude, Then just
yeah.
I didn't really think you would like message back because I'm sure like you like I know you talk you know like everybody, so and I'm sure like every
Not really.
just like I'm
Yeah,
sure like
yeah,
people like just like seeing the first guys you interviewed, those are all like some heavy hitters, which is good.
yeah.
So it
Actually, you
was,
kept mentioning Sean. He's gonna be on next week.
yeah,
Believe it or not. Yeah,
him watching his video, yeah, he's pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Well, man, I appreciate your time,
Oh,
and
thank you,
this
man. I
is
really
great.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, getting your perspective on this hobby is just as important as anybody else that you've seen, or because we're all starting and we're all in this together. Really, because we're all bouncing stuff off each other and helping each other out through this. Because
That's what helped me, man. Just feeding off of
yeah,
everybody else and actually just listening and paying attention, and that's it, pretty much.
cool. Well, Sam, I really appreciate your time, and definitely want to have you back on.
Yeah, thanks,
Especially if you
man.
get that astrograph. I want to hear all about that. And you're going to go, why did you tell me to get that? This thing is a pain in the ass.
It's all your fault.
It's all your fault. Exactly. All right, dude.
Okay,
Well,
thanks.
take it easy,
Okay.
and thanks again.
You too,
See ya.
man. See you later.